This section covers fences and walls in section 10.5.5 of the Denver Zoning Code. So we'll be discussing all fences and walls except retaining walls. In section 10.5.5, under corner site triangles, we've clarified the requirement for site triangles when a fence or wall may affect visibility at intersections with a street or alley, and that any landscaping, fence, wall, or screening within a site triangle must receive approval from DOTI, or the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. 10.5.5.1c covers overheight fences, or the exception from maximum height. The criteria for the fence not being allowed to detract from the safety or pedestrian character of the existing neighborhood has now been added to item 2, and the existing neighborhood is now a defined term in Article 13. In Article 13, that definition describes which blocks are included in the existing neighborhood for evaluation of the pedestrian or character of the neighborhood. Under the exceptions to maximum height, under point 4, this gives the ability to the Department of Parks and Recreation to approve an overheight fence adjacent to a designated parkway. Point 5 states that any section of an overheight fence or wall shall be a minimum of 50% open. The 50% open standard now has a rule of measurement in Article 13 as well. It's in 13.1.13. And in point 8, staff approval of overheight fences and walls is limited to an increase of no more than 2 feet above the maximum allowed. Any height greater than 2 feet over the maximum can only be approved through a zoning variance by the Board of Adjustment. Under the material standards in 10.5.5.1e, there's a new allowance for the installation of barbed wire or a non-lethal electric fence system if it's approved by the Denver Fire Department, without limit, and there's no zoning permit required. This is only allowed in the IA, IB, and National Western Center campus zone districts. Under section 10.5.5.2 for specific maximum heights, we've consolidated the maximum height standards for all zone districts into one section of code rather than repeating them in multiple sections. The applicability section now refers to fences and walls accessory to single unit or 2-unit development and to all other primary uses in all zone districts except for IA, IB, and the National Western Center campus district. The maximum height section has been revised to read more clearly and to separate out the second standard, which allows a 6-foot tall fence behind any primary street-facing facade of a primary structure. This section for mixed-use commercial zone districts, OSB and OSC, has been removed because these have all been incorporated into the applicability of B above. The standards were substantially the same, so this reduces the unnecessary repetition. Moving to the section for fences and walls in IA, IB, and the National Western Center campus zone districts now. This shows, just point of clarification, this will show up here as D, but in the new section, the letter C will be where this was found due to the deletion of the prior section. These changes are mainly rephrasing for readability and adding references to rules of measurement, such as the new rule of measurement for percent open standards in section 13.1.13.